Alright, welcome to another video. It's Excite again. So today I want to go over the value problem that I see with the Games Workshop products, especially the start collecting boxes, and I want to show that it really wasn't always this way. And it's kind of stemming from continuing on a theme from the last video where I talked about, or previous video, excuse me, where I talked about what they could do to actually bring people into the hobby that are worthwhile, and lowering the barrier to entry, because right now what they're doing with these start collecting boxes is just they're not worth it, and it's not like they're trying to figure this out. As I'll hopefully show you in this video, they used to make Battleforces, if anybody else remembers those, that were pretty good value. So we'll let's take a look at the first one. All right, well, just start with the Eldar Battle Force. This one's from 1999, around that time period. So that would have been 3rd edition, early 4th edition. So in this one you get, looks like, a Viper, a Falcon, not just a Wave Serpent, a big horde of Guardians, and some jet bikes. Yeah, this is pretty good value. Split the Guardians into 2 squads, you get 2 troops. You got fast attack, 2 fast attack units. Falcon, all you got to do to add to this is an HQ, and you've got, not a huge force, but 400 or 500 points probably. I mean, if you're getting into the game, this is pretty good. And I don't know what this one was priced at, but most of the battle forces that were put out when I originally played at the beginning of 5th edition, were priced at $90, and I would guess that this probably was priced at around the same. So yeah, this is pretty good value. This is another LR Battle Force. This one's a bit later, so this was the one that was on sale, I'm fairly certain, back in 5th edition. You got Guardian Squad, the heavy weapon that goes with the Guardians, Warwalker, Wave Serpent, and a small Dire Avenger squad. Again, you got 2 troops, a couple support units, and all you'd have to do is add an HQ, and wouldn't be the best army, but certainly enough to get you started. And at $90, this is a pretty decent deal, and certainly pretty good savings, I would say, but does not really, I should say, the current Eldar start collecting really does not compare well to either of these. If I had to pick, I'd probably choose the 1999 or late 90s Battle Force. But this isn't bad either, considering you get a transport and 2 squads of troops and the Warwalker. But you can still kind of see they're reducing the model count in the boxes, even at this time. So sort of been an ongoing trend with GW reducing the model count in the boxes. Now we got the Chaos Space Marines. So you've got, looks like their equivalent of a tactical squad. You get another 5-man tac squad. Looks like some Khorne Berserkers, and I think those are Raptors. Feel free to correct me on that. I'm not well versed in Chaos Marines, and a Rhino, Chaos Rhino. This is pretty close to the Space Marine box that was around at about the same time, and again, just like the Eldar one, If you're looking to get into chaos, I think this was a pretty good set of models. You know, you got two troops, a couple support units, and a transport. I mean, there's not much more you can ask for if you're starting out, or you know, you've kind of built up an army from a few squads and you need like a kind of an expansion um, early on. It's pretty solid. Can't really complain. So this is a Space Marine Battle Force from the late '90s. Um, Not really a fully playable army out of the box. I guess you could run. Well, all these need an HQ choice. I mean, I guess you could run the tac squad into two 5-man teams. Um, you know, that could work. But I mean, it's still a decent value. I mean, you get bikes, land speeder, Terminators, great unit, and a tactical squad. So, I mean, not much more to say about it other than, you know, they could still put these out and at a reasonable price. And I think they would sell pretty well. Okay, so here's a later Space Marine Battle Force. This is the one I bought. I got as a gift for Christmas one year. And great set. I mean, Rhino, Assault Squad, um, 5-man combat squad, and scouts. All you got to do is add an HQ, and I mean, really, if you wanted to, I mean, you could make one of the assault troops a HQ choice, or you know, Kit Bash, one of the tactical Marines, maybe. I mean, and the other thing too, I mean, this is when they gave you a lot of options in the kits. I mean, the customization was a lot better than it is now on a lot of the current kits being pretty monopose. So, yeah, just fantastic set. Um, I don't want to belabor the point too much, so I'll just go through these last few kind of quickly. Um, we got Space Wolves. This is another late '90s set. Um, Looks like two units, some bikes, and a Rhino. You know, again, great, pretty good looking set. Uh, Good set of models. And you know, we got a later Space Wolf Battle Force. This is probably the one they released um, from around the 5th edition Space Wolves re-release, if I had to guess. But drop pod, few squads, you know, again, pretty good. Can't really complain. Um, and finally, this doesn't seem like the best set, but I'm not like a never been a Tyranids player and don't know too much about them. So, you know, if any Tyranids players want to clarify, you know, it looks like a few different units and monstrous unit. Pretty good set from what I can tell, at least. Seems like a lower, slightly. No, it's actually about the same model count as the others, maybe even a little bit more, but the Tyranids are more of a horde army. But anyway, you know, yeah. So, yeah, as I'm wrapping up here, I'll just let these other, uh, the newer sets start collecting boxes go by. Um, yeah, so we got the Astra Militarum, Astra Militarum. It's Imperial Guard, okay, but I mean that one seems decent. You get a tank. Um, you actually get an HQ choice. Looks like. I mean that's not too bad, but I mean I remember when, and I'm not even that old, but it's like I remember when Cadian infantry were 20 to a box instead of 10. You know, I mean things like that, and there was a lot of customization in there. And then you've got the Primaris Space Wolves box. I mean, that looks like one tactical squad, maybe, or a few small units. I mean, that's 14 figures. I mean, that's 80 or $90, and then Tyranids doesn't really seem like that much. Um, I mean, there's no excuse for these like GW to be doing this when they were putting out, I mean, essentially small armies in a box back 10, 15 years ago. And if they want to make the hobby more accessible, you don't do it by watering down the lore and trying to attract these more consumer minded people that will just buy it no matter what. You want to attract to keep the hobby quality up. Not that they care about this, but um, people that are creative and want to be invested in this. And I mean, you lower that barrier to entry by lowering the prices, but keeping and increasing the value, but keeping the other elements of the hobby sort of intact. The universe and the tone and sort of the the quality that's expected. And just to say it again, there's no excuse. Why can't they do this? They had these Battleforces out for 20 years that were good value. Um, you know, Quite a substantial number of units in each box. I mean, even just going through the ones I showed, I mean, they're obviously not all created equal. Like I said, I think that later Eldar Battle Force, not necessarily as good, but I mean, certainly, if I wanted to start Chaos Space Marines, Space Wolves Army, heck, even the Tyranids set, I think, you really couldn't go wrong with any of those. So, it's like on the one hand, I don't know why they can't do this, but I know why, because I mean, at this point, they've changed their business model, and they've, gone all in with this sort of Wizards of the Coast thing type of thing, and they know that the people they're drawing into the hobby will just pay it no matter what. Personally, I buy very little brand new from Games Workshop. Most of my stuff comes from eBay. But what I do buy brand new is stuff like paints, and even the prices on those are a bit high, but they're pretty good paints, to give them credit. And but other than supporting my local game store, I really don't. There's really not much motivation for me to buy stuff brand new. When like Dire Avengers used to be 10 units, 10 troops in a box, a lot of extras. I haven't bought the new Dire Avenger kit yet, so I don't know if they've gotten rid of the extras, but if it's anything like the Space Marine range, from what I've heard, they've really cut down on the amount of extra stuff and convertibility you get in these models. And why they just insist on doing this. I mean, it doesn't make sense on the one hand, but to them, for the business people that run the company, it does. And it's just kind of pathetic at this point. They were, and especially these late 90s boxes, I mean, they were not as big as they were at that point. I'm trying to, when did Dawn of War come out? Okay, Dawn of War, the original Dawn of War came out in 2004. And I mean, I know there had been 40K video games before that, but I mean, it seemed like they were something of a smaller company at that point, and they were able to put out boxes that were decent value. So why won't they do this anymore? Again, I'm just kind of repeating myself at this point, but it's just pretty sad that, they've gone down this route, and the hobby, wargaming in general, and 40K community has kind of gone downhill because of it. It's unfortunate, but that's the route they've decided to take. So, but if you're someone like me who still enjoys the making the models, enjoys the universe, and even likes the game, I like the ninth edition. It's not streamlined, but I think it's pretty fun. It's not bad. Um, you know, there's ways around paying these sorts of prices, and it's there's plenty of stuff on eBay. Like I said, unless you have a local small business gaming store, which I think you should support them as much as possible. But paying full price is for these models is just really, really hard to justify, and especially with stuff going on in the real world, it's difficult for a lot of people. But anyway, I think I've gone on long enough, and hope you enjoyed the video.